Hello, Team Herbalife. My name is Paul Yoon, Sales Manager for Australia and New Zealand, and it is our great pleasure to be bringing you this special Herbalife24 product training webinar designed specifically for Australia and New Zealand. And of course, we have our guest speakers, Dr. John Heiss and Dr. Dana Ryan, on the webinar with us right now. But before we hear from them, I'd like to hand the webinar to the first speaker, General Manager of Australia and New Zealand, Rod Taylor. Rod, please go ahead.
Hello everybody. Wow, what a fantastic new addition and opportunity the Herbalife24 Sports range brings to your business. Did you know the sports nutrition market in Australia and New Zealand is one of the fastest growing industries, and Australia alone, it's 8% growth per annum. Latest research I have seen shows the sports nutrition market is worth $858 million a year in Australia and $47 million a year in New Zealand. Wow, that's big. Think of this. That's in addition to the weight management market or even the skincare market, which are also large markets in their own right. Now with Herbalife Nutrition, you have a more complete offering with the Herbalife24 Sports range to reach out and attract even more people who want the great solutions you can provide. Herbalife is a leader in weight management in Australia and New Zealand. Can you imagine when additionally we are also a leader in sports nutrition? We already have amazing ambassadors around the world sharing their personal results with our Herbalife24 Sports range. This is the time for you to showcase our partnerships with Cristiano Ronaldo, Virat Kohli, LA Galaxy, and in Australia, the Western Sydney Wanderers. It is truly a fabulous time for you right now to carry out the very important mission of changing people's lives by providing the best nutrition products in the world and the best opportunity in direct selling. Now we're going to hear from Dr. John Heiss and Dr. Dana Ryan, who are going to share their amazing knowledge with you about the fabulous Herbalife24 Sports range. Paul, over to you.
Thanks, Rod. And wow, the opportunity sounds truly incredible. And now I'd like to hand the webinar to the guest speakers, Senior Director of Corporate Product Marketing, Dr. John Heiss, Senior Manager of Sports Performance, Education and Medical Affairs, Dr. Dana Ryan. John and Dana, please go ahead.
Hey, Australia, New Zealand, welcome. How are you? Thanks for joining the call. This is John Heiss here, and I'm sitting next to Dana Ryan, PhD, who is a Senior Manager of Sports Performance. You may have recognized her from her work with the NFL Combine athletes here in the United States. She's worked directly with lots of other athletes around the world, so she is the expert sports performance person for all things athletic. So Dana, welcome to the call.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
She has not been lucky enough to visit Australia like I have, so it's nice to see you all again. And what we want to do is walk you all through the Herbalife24 range now that 2 new products have launched in the region, and try to tie together the whole story of how to use the products, how to use them with the Herbalife regular products, and then give you some tips on how to sell those products and explain them to your customers. So let's start, again, just with a real brief overview of the 4 products that are now in Australia and New Zealand. So before it was Rebuild, Strength, and Hydrate, and I talked to you a lot about how those are the key products. Now adding CR7 Drive really gives us a solid product that you can use during competition, and then the line is really rounded out with the addition of Formula One Sport, which is really your go-to anytime healthy meal replacement product for athletes or non-athletes alike. When we were thinking about this line, these are all premium products. It can be used for training, performance, recovery, but they can also be used just as general nutrition. So I think the biggest thing to take away is that, these products, while they're designed for athletes, that doesn't mean they're exclusive to athletes. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that a lot of people may not think of themselves as an actual athlete They say, well, I work out once or twice a week. I'm not an athlete. I'm trying to get fit. Well, that's the perfect person that Herbalife24 is for. They're based on science. There's very good scientific support behind the products, the ingredients, the formulations. And then one of the big things is all the banned substance testing. So Dana, why don't you tell us a little bit about the banned substance testing that happens in these products?
Yeah, so one of the most important things for us with having the sports line and using it with a lot of our elite athletes around the world is that we wanted to make sure that we give everyone the confidence that they knew that whatever competition that they were going into, if they were going to be tested for banned substances, that they knew 100% that this product didn't contain any of those banned substances. So we work with local agencies to make sure that all of the products are prohibited substance tested and they meet all of the recommendations and requirements in both Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, that's great. And I think there's even some language on the back of the products and the labels, which may probably slowly rolling into the region if it's not there yet, but it should have a link or some explanation of the banned substance testing, which is really useful. You know, you can show a customer that label and say, look, it's banned substance here. Here's a website to go to and check it out.
I think that's been one of the most important things for me talking with either customers or whether it's an athlete or a team is being able to say, hey, look at the lot number on your canister, go to this website, and you'll be able to see that that exact lot number was tested and certified.
Perfect. And that's actually, yeah, super, super important for a lot of people. Just that they have that confidence in knowing the products are safe. So let's talk a little bit about Formula One Sport, one of the new products to the region. So for me, the way I think about this is, think about it as exactly the same as regular Formula One. You can use it as a breakfast shake, a lunchtime meal, a small dinner. You can add things to it. So I look at Formula One Sport as the same as classic Formula One, but with a different kind of protein. And that kind of protein is whey protein. Classic Formula One is soy-based. This is whey-based. And the reason we made it is that we went to a lot of teams and athletes and just said, we love your shake. We love the taste. We love how we feel. It keeps us full. It keeps our blood sugar regulated, these sorts of things. They said, we wish you had one in a different kind of protein. We really wanted whey. So that's why we made Formula One Sport. So I think the biggest thing is that it's not necessarily for athletes, right? You could use this just like you would any of the other flavors of Formula One. You can add things like PPP, bananas, those sorts of things. But it's just a different kind of protein.
Yeah, so I think, like John said, I think there's some confusion with the 24 line that if you're not an elite athlete, if you're not competing on the global stage, that this line isn't for you. And the reality is, especially when you look at Formula One Sport, if you're looking at, you know, the number of calories, protein, fat, all of that, it's going to be the same as what you get with Formula One. The difference being the type of protein that's being used. So this just really gives you an option if you want to have soy protein some days, if you want to have a milk-based protein on other days. It really just gives you the flexibility to mix and match and use it as a, you know, breakfast or a snack. We have athletes that use it as a breakfast or something if they don't want to have a large meal before they go train in the morning. It's perfect for that, or an afternoon snack. Yeah,
so if someone asks, like, what's Formula One Sport and they're new to Herbalife, you know, I tell them it's an all-in-one meal replacement shake for athletes. The key thing is it's going to give you sustained energy. And some people look at it and they'll say, well, you know, it's got carbs, it's got sugar, you know, all I want is protein. Well, remember, this product isn't just a protein powder. It's an entire meal. And so that means it's going to have protein, but it's also going to have some slowly digested carbohydrates. It's going to have all the vitamins and minerals. And this means it's going to help support immune function. It's going to maintain muscle mass and the things that are about a meal rather than just having a pure protein shake. So just remind any potential clients that it's intended to have calories and carbs and sugars, because that's what's going to give people who are active that energy to make it through a day and not get hungry in between meals that they're snacking all day on unhealthy foods. So Dana, why don't you just go into a little bit of maybe how to use it or how to mix it, or what are some of the things you add to the shake depending on if you need more or less calories?
Yeah, for sure. So like we already mentioned, it really can be used in a whole variety of ways. So some of our athletes that they don't want a large meal in the morning, they'll just, you know, blend it with some berries or have it with milk or water and use it just as is basically before a workout. But for some people, that they want to have a larger breakfast, you can mix it with bananas and berries, almond butter, things like that to make a larger meal out of it. But one of the things that's great about it for athletes is it does have some added vitamins and minerals. And we know that people that are active, their bodies require a little bit more when it comes to their needs for vitamins and minerals. So having something like the Formula One Sport, it's going to be good for athletes in that regard.
Yeah, perfect. And then I said earlier, you can throw in PPP. So even though this is whey-based, no problem mixing it with soy. You could even do 1 scoop of Formula Sport and 1 scoop of cookies and cream. So you can mix and match just like you would any other Formula One. What makes it more expensive is that whey protein is more expensive than soy. And sometimes the reason athletes like whey protein is that whey tends to be more quickly digested, which means after a workout or even before workout, they're going to get the amino acids that are released from whey protein into their muscles a little quicker. And then it has some casein protein, which provides a more slow release. So it's not necessarily better or more specific. It just gives, again, people a different option of protein sources. One other thing is that on the allergen statement, it probably says, it has a soy allergy, and I'm telling you, it doesn't have soy protein. So a little confusing for some people. Again, there's some, carrier ingredients and processing aids that might have some soy in them. Usually whey protein has soy lecithin added to it to help it flow. So while there's no soy protein added, you have to be careful if there's a soy allergy. So minor detail. And another thing that comes up is lactose, if you're allergic to milk. So if you're allergic to milk, this one would not work. But if you're lactose intolerant, which means you just have trouble digesting milk, since this has super high purified protein, you should have no trouble with any lactose problems, lactose intolerance. Cool. Okay, so let's hop on to the next product here, which is Hydrate. So this for me is kind of your real anytime usage product. We talked about it last time when I was down in Adelaide. Athletes, non-athletes, it's a great product to drink during the day, before workout, after workout. You can even take it during workout. My favorite time to use this product is actually on airplanes. It's got some vitamin C, and it's got some B vitamins, so I usually feel good, get energized a little bit. It's got some immune properties with the vitamin C. And the best thing is that, it's low calorie. I think there's only 10 calories in it, approximately. And so that means that you can be drinking this thing and you don't have to worry about weight gain, which is why it makes it for athletes and non-athletes.
Yeah, I think it's a great option because we get so far off sometimes in our diets just by what we drink. So by consuming high-calorie coffee drinks or sodas, we add so many calories to our day just by drinking extra liquid calories. And this is a great option to, instead of having a soda, having something that's still going to have some flavor to it, but it's not going to have all that extra sugar. It's not going to have all the extra calories, and something you can really drink all day.
Yeah, it's a good point. So I usually just mix this in water, usually about a half liter, and it helps me stay hydrated and without excess calories and sugar.
Yeah, and I think it helps people drink more water sometimes too, because they get bored drinking just plain water. So being able to add a little flavor to it can really make drinking water a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, and I think a common asked question on this is does it make water better? I think that's maybe a little hard to quantify. I don't know, Dana, you've done some work on that, but it certainly might make you drink more water. You probably retain water because the added. So yeah, I guess that's the important thing is how does it help you hydrate? Well, consuming the sodium and potassium that are in this product, when you do drink that water, it helps you retain more water, which thereby translates to a longer term, better hydration.
Yeah. And I think specifically for athletes, the fact that it has B12 in it is also a key. So if you are looking to give this to someone that is very active, B12 is something that a lot of athletes are low in. So having this in Hydrate can be a benefit for them.
And I think the one thing to keep in mind is that before CR7 Drive came to the market, a lot of people were probably using this as their go-to during exercise drink, which would help you hydrate. But of course, having such low calories wouldn't really give you any energy during a ride. So if you're doing a 30-minute run or a 1-hour bicycle ride, Hydrate's perfect. 30 minutes yoga session, Hydrate's perfect. You're at the beach playing sports, no problem. But I think once you get into that 1.5 to 2 hour workout range. Or if it's a really hot day, probably anything over 45 minutes to an hour. Or if you're doing like some really intense, exercise like a CrossFit or like some, high intensity stuff, that's when you're going to want to consume some sort of beverage that has some calories in it, preferably from carbohydrates.
Yeah, for sure. I think we'll talk about CR7 in a second, but I think you get the flexibility to customize what you're drinking during your workout between these two products, depending. You don't have to do the same thing every day. Like John said, if it's a light workout, you're not sweating all that much. Something like Hydrate would be perfect. And as soon as you up that intensity, then switching over to CR7 would be a good choice.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like on Mondays mornings, I'm tired from a weekend workout, so I usually might do something really easy. I'll drink either water or nothing, or I'll take Hydrate. But then on Tuesday, if I do like a 2-hour workout, then I'll probably drink something like CR7 Drive. So why don't we jump over to CR7 Drive and talk about this product? Dan, you want to give us a little background on it?
Sure. So with CR7 Drive, it's kind of taking that base of what Hydrate was with the electrolytes and then building on that. As you guys probably all know, John worked on it with Ronaldo, and they were able to create a product that not only fit the needs of an elite athlete, but really trickled down to fitting the needs of the everyday person as well. And I think, again, going back to some of those common misconceptions about the product is that just because it was developed with Ronaldo, at the end of the day, when we look inside, when someone is exercising, we all still need to metabolize carbohydrates the same way. We need to utilize electrolytes the same way. Our bodies function on the inside the same way. So if you're someone that's active and is moving and is sweating, then this is going to be a great product for you to be able to use.
Yeah, that's great. Man, I look good stomach in it. I think the thing is, like, we set out to exactly build on Hydrate, right? So you've got this hydration component. We've got this energy component, which is the carbohydrates, and then we added kind of the mineral or the vitamin thing with the B vitamins to help support the metabolism. So those are the real three components. So when I think about CR7 Drive, it's a performance during exercise sports drink. So anything you've tried in the past, it's kind of in that category. We then tried to optimize it or adjust this product to make it a little bit unique. And so some of the things that make it unique from other products that might be in the marketplace are that it has no artificial flavors or sweeteners. We tried to use electrolytes that are really soluble, which means since they're soluble, your body's able to utilize them really quickly and efficiently rather than kind of getting past your body unused. We focus on the carbohydrates. You'll notice if you start reading the label, they're a little different than a lot of sports drinks out there that might only use, let's say, sucrose, which is kind of an intermediate digested carbohydrate. We want to use some different kinds of real fast digestion like maltodextrin and glucose, and then have a little bit of sucrose in there for some more long-term, slower energy. The flavor, it's real subtle. It's light. It's we call it acai berry. Ronaldo's personal favorite kind of additive to his shakes and is acai berries. So we kind of looked for him for inspiration on the flavor type. And one of his biggest complaints, as is a complaint of so many athletes, is they say most sports drinks that they've used on teams that they might have been on before they've been sponsored by Herbalife, is that most drinks are way too sweet. We've all been to maybe a local gas station, and you grab something and you're thirsty and it's really sweet. It's almost impossible to drink the whole thing. So we focus on making a really light, sweet taste. And then on top of that, we also tested it, for banned substances, as is all the Herbalife24 products. So this really is like the kind of the perfect product that's created to help support a top professional. We used Ronaldo's input all along the production and R&D pathway from, okay, what do you need? Do you need calories? How many do you need? At what concentration? What does your sweat look like? We measured his blood. We found out he was low in magnesium and B12. So we added extra magnesium B12 to this drink. We then kind of came up with this rough concept on paper. Then we started making things in the lab, experimented with flavors, and ended up with this great product that Ronaldo loves personally. So he has personal pride in it. But then also by using more or less than one serving, it can be used from top professionals competing in a super long cycling race all the way down to, let's say, you know, a mom going to a fitness class after work before she, you know, gets home for 30 minutes. So it's a really adaptable product.
For sure. And I think it's important to know that there is, you know, reason for having the carbohydrates. I know a lot of people I hear say, well, I don't want to take it because it has carbohydrates in it. But the reality is that when you're working out, when you're exercising, the fastest way for your body to get energy is from carbohydrates. And they're also something that you're going to go through your carbohydrate stores as well as you're exercising. So giving yourself some carbohydrate is basically giving yourself access to quick energy that your body's going to be able to use.
Yeah, sure, Dan. That's a great point. I feel like the vast majority of the people that are on this call, like if they're working out themselves or they have clients who are working out, it's probably they want to like lose a few pounds, look a little better in the mirror, you know, maybe start getting a six-pack to come through. They're probably not playing in, you know, La Liga, right? So, okay, so why did we add sugar? So if you're exercising, an average person burns what per hour? Maybe 400?
500 to 600 calories.
500. So yeah. I'd say easy workout is maybe 400 to 500 calories per hour you're burning.
Yeah.
Moderate, probably 600 per hour. And then pretty aggressive would be like 800 calories per hour. So you got to think, even a light workout is burning 400 or 500 calories per hour. This product is 50 calories per scoop, right? So it's about 250 mils. So if you had a half liter of it, that's maybe 100 calories. So the whole point is that you're going to have some calories come in, but it's going to help you have a better workout. So you're going to burn even way more calories than you did if you were to drink, or burn more calories than you did if you ate this thing.
For sure. I mean, I think everyone can relate to that feeling of kind of hitting the wall at the end of a workout and just kind of running out of gas. And by consuming a little bit of some carbohydrates through a workout, it's going to help you kind of push through the rest of that training.
For sure. I mean, I know when I ride on the weekends, you know, I usually just like hop on my bike in the mornings or even on the weekends. And I find if I don't eat enough on the ride, and that could be eating calories through CR7 Drive. Like if I get home, I'm super hungry, I way overeat.
And like not good food.
Yeah, I'll stop at a coffee shop and get like a pastry or something. But if I drink CR7 Drive during my ride, when I finish the ride, I'm way less likely to load up on all that kind of junk food. So you got to think, you know, kind of longer term rather than like, oh, this has calories and sugar, it's bad for me. You know, look, it's going to help you in the longer picture of your day. Cool. So again, just a way to use this product, you know, it's not just for cyclists and football, soccer players, but tons of guys here in the U.S. I know from just looking on social media are using this product during the gym workouts. So they're basically saying, well, I want to get a better quality gym workout when I'm lifting weights. I want to work out longer, be able to squeeze out an extra couple of reps at the end of my sets. And so that's why they're using this product there. And some of them are even kind of doing like a Formula One, let's say, or rebuild strength before the gym, get some protein in. They'll drink CR7 Drive during the gym. And then after the workout, they might even do another rebuild strength shake afterwards to basically add in more protein right after the gym to get the benefit. So the carbs, you know, having carbs either before, during, or after exercise is the real time to have a sports drink. And then, you know, way after exercise, that's the time where you're going to focus on your post-workout recovery.
For sure.
So post-workout recovery, I guess we should talk about rebuild strength then.
Huh? So
what we did with rebuild strength was, right, so CR7 Drive's all carbs. Rebuild strength was designed, or is designed, really to give you what you need after a workout. And your body needs really two things. You need carbs to replenish the glycogen and refuel your energy stores. And actually the fact of just doing that alone has actually been shown to increase muscle mass. And then on top of that, we added 25 grams of protein, again, dairy protein, whey and casein, that are going to help basically also build muscle mass. So you've got these two main components in the product, the carbs and the protein together. So rebuild strength, I think of it as a really high quality, you know, post-workout shake or high quality protein shake with a modest amount of carbohydrates that, again, are added for a reason. It's not a pure protein powder. It's really a kind of an all-in-one recovery shake.
And I think one of the things that's great about it is that, you know, we kind of know that post-workout, there's a bit of a window that you want to make sure you're getting good quality nutrients into your body. So typically with our athletes or anyone that's working out, within, half an hour or 45 minutes of finishing your workout, you want to be getting some good quality protein and carbohydrates into your body. So by having something like Rebuild Strength that you can just put the powder in a water bottle, take it with you to the gym. As soon as you're finished, go stop by the water fountain, fill it up. You have it ready to go. You can get that nutrition in when you need it, as opposed to having to drive home and make dinner. It's just a real good way to ensure that you're giving your body what it needs after a workout.
Yeah, and so just going back to the slide here, if you're following along on the actual webinar, if you're watching the text, 25 grams high quality protein, that's going to help build muscle mass. It's also going to help make you more full. Yeah. Naturally colored, flavored, sweetened, and then it comes as really delicious chocolate flavor. To me, it tastes like chocolate milk, so that's pretty much like a slam dunk if you let someone try the product.
For sure. And I think one thing to clarify, because we do get this a lot, is with females, if you're going to be taking Rebuild Strength, is it going to give you super big muscles, like you're going to look like a guy? And that's just not the case. So it's really going to help you. When you exercise, you break down your muscles, which is something that has to happen to be able to build them up. But if you're a female and you're taking protein after workout, it's really just going to help you build that lean muscle mass that you're looking for.
Perfect. So a couple more details we'll kind of dive into here. I guess if you're meeting someone out there and you see them at the gym, for me, if it was me, I would be like, hey, you got to check out this great new shake we've got at Herbalife, and it's not new, I guess, right now, but we've got this great recovery shake. It's got 25 grams of whey protein. It's got some carbohydrates, which can help maximize gains at the gym. And I think there's a little bit of confusion about the amino acids. I think they're not prohibited in certain parts of Australia and some other parts of Asia. You got to remember that protein, whey, and casein already has all the amino acids built into the actual protein, right? Because amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So it still has BCAAs and the glutamine, and it's almost the exact same levels as the United States. I forget what the numbers are. It's probably close to 4 grams, and this one might have under 3 grams or 3.5 grams or something. So, it's got milk protein, the whey, the casein. It's got the right kind of carbs, not too many. It's about as much as a banana. So I think, first of all, it's got the right ingredients. It tastes good. And then I think the easiest sell is just that people get they get the results in the product.
Yeah.
Anyone who uses this product the first time comments on the taste, give it to them for a week or even a month, and they'll come back every time and they'll probably say, what was in that? I feel amazing. I can't believe I've been using brand X for years. I switched this in 1 month. I've gotten better results I've never had before. So I think that's a testament to, the quality of the science and ingredients that we source to make that product, which, again, adds cost, but, you can ask someone, what's the price to get those results? You want to pay for something that's cheap and not get results, or do you want to spend money and actually get product that works?
And I think another thing that's great about this is that, we've kind of talked about how you can customize all of these products, but even within Rebuild Strength in and of itself, how it's originally set up is that it's close to a 1-to-1 carbohydrate to protein ratio. And we know that, say you're doing a really heavy endurance type workout, you might need to add some more carbohydrates. So simply blending it with berries or adding milk to it, you're able to kind of change it to make it particular to exactly the type of workout you just did.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I just forget about that part. But yeah, so after a bike ride, for a bike ride, super endurance, I'll take Rebuild Strength, I'll add it to milk, and then I'll just add a whole bunch of frozen fruit to it. And if I did a really ride, I'll even add straight honey or sugar just to add more carbs. If you're at the gym though, and let's say you want more protein, you could throw in scoops of PPP, and you're mixing whey and soy, which I actually really like because it adds different speed amino acids into your body. And then it also just increases only the protein without introducing the carbs. So that's if you want more protein and even less carbs, that's a good way to go. Or you could use 1 scoop of Rebuild Strength, a half serving, and then just do more PPP, so you have even less carbs and more protein.
Totally. And I think that the thing also to note about the protein is that, having 25 grams and then adding some PPP to it, you're only going to be getting, depending on how much you add, 30, 35 grams of protein, which is exactly where you want to be. Some people will say, oh, I'm going to take 80 grams of protein after a workout. But the reality is that your body can't really do anything with all that extra protein. So keeping it around the 25 to 40 grams of protein post-workout is going to be ideal.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I mean, I'd say pretty much anytime you're making a protein shake, whether it's F1 plus PPP for breakfast, I usually encourage people to hit that 20-gram protein mark as kind of your minimum. That doesn't mean if you're at 18, there's no benefit. I'd tell 20 is a nice round number. For athletes, a little more. That's why Rebuild Strength has 25. But Dana's totally right. Like anything over 40, you're kind of like wasting the protein in a way. And what happens is that you don't really waste it. What happens is it gets burned as energy. It gets converted into carbohydrates, which get burned as energy. And we all know if you eat excess carbohydrates that don't get burned as energy, those go on to get stored as fat. So it's not like just loading up on protein will make you get lean, right, and just melt away fat. It's still, you have to maintain that energy balance equation of calories in, calories out. So good call on that. And then, so you can always use more or less than a serving of this. Yeah. So, like I said, you can use a half scoop plus mix in other products. You can use more than a whole serving. If you're a big NFL guy like Dana worked with, I mean, those guys were using like probably two servings. Two servings. Yeah, so they're getting 50 grams of protein. You probably added more carbs to their shake. So I guess the point is, all the products are pretty flexible. We always say to recommend to use based on label. But if you're, a top athlete, talk to your personal nutritionist or doctor to make sure it's okay to use either more than a label serving.
And I think too, some people say, can I have it on a day that I'm not working out? And if you're an athlete and you're training, I'll use it as a snack in the afternoon. To be honest, it's just kind of like taking a good protein bar, but just in a different form, right? You're getting your 25 grams of protein, some good carbohydrates. So it's, not just after a workout.
Sure. And we're spending a lot of time on this product, but, it's far away the biggest seller. It's, the most popular one in terms of not just after workout. I mean, this is usually my go-to breakfast shake too. I mean, almost every morning I do milk, frozen blueberries, some sort of nuts, and Rebuild Strength. And then I'll sometimes toss in like a scoop of cookies and cream or just some other thing to flavor it up. We've got that orange creamsicle flavor sometimes. So I do that here in the U.S. So that's not after workout. That's just a breakfast shake. So again, there's not a right or wrong way to use it. And again, you don't have to be an athlete to use it. I mean, we're not pushing to use this product. We're just trying to give you kind of all the different scenarios of how one might use this product. And then I also mentioned that some guys are using it before a workout. And the thing on that, and it makes total sense if you think about it, is that your muscles don't really know, like it's not all of a sudden like, oh, time to rebuild, like let me get protein. Like your muscles are constantly in this on and off building state. So if you give them some protein amino acids before workout, it's just more fuel for the fire for your muscles to like constantly be like undergoing like muscle synthesis. So what these guys are doing is they have maybe a serving or a half serving before, and then they'll do a serving or half serving afterwards. And that really sandwiches the window with a good dose of protein and carbohydrates.
Yeah, I mean, I think it fits too, if you look at what our global nutrition philosophy is and this idea of making sure you're getting good quality protein throughout the day, that's just another way to ensure that you're constantly getting good protein into your body.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think we definitely covered Rebuild Strength enough. Hopefully there's not too many questions on that one. So Dan, I think, we talked about the 4 products, and I think one of the biggest questions is, again, just how do I use it with the other Herbalife products throughout my day? And I think we touched on a lot about mixed skin Formula 1 or PPP. But, what about some of the other products that you've experienced that athletes have really enjoyed mixing into their routine with Herbalife24?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's very few athletes out there that would just use the 24 line. I think most of them are really using a combination of both lines. They'll do things like with the CR7 mixing liftoff in it as a pre-workout. We talked about the PPP. You can add that to Rebuild Strength. You could add it to Formula 1 Sport. So really, there's no reason why you can't combine the 2 lines together.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, just think about your daily nutrition. Like, every person should be taking the multivitamin and the Herbalife line on a daily basis. For the tea, like, I'll often finish a workout, get to the office, and I'll drink, some of the instant tea.
Yeah.
Just to, give me some caffeine and some energy. The joint support, it's a no-brainer. So there's just so many different products. We've had success with athletes with the aloe concentrate too, right? In terms of like, just settling digestive and soothing their
digestion. Use it with lunch after having a big meal.
Exactly. So I think the key is like mixing match based on what you need from the nutrition standpoint and worry less about what color, label, or canister it's in.
For sure. Like, for example, some athletes, if it's a light day, but they're feeling like they want some caffeine, they'll do lift off and hydrate. And then if it's before a little bit more of an intense workout, they'll take the same lift off, but mix it with the CR7 to get some carbohydrates.
I mean, tell us a little more about like some of the athletes that you work with in the NFL. Do those guys have any like things that they really loved or like any surprising routines that they did?
I mean, it's amazing we were able to keep the lift off in stock because those guys, I think every day they were emailing me, asking me for that. So lift off, rebuild strength were probably the two favorites. And that's pretty common around the world. A lot of our athletes, they're pretty much all taking the Herbalife line and the multivitamin. And a lot of them love the protein bars as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know when teams ask me for products and I ship them out, it's kind of that combination as well. The protein bars, they love them, and the lift off. I mean, all the endurance guys I know, they're drinking it all the time.
Yeah.
Heather Jackson, she's a big kind of Ironman distance triathlete here in the U.S. I think she was second fastest woman in Kona for the U.S. I mean, she's drinking hydrate all the time, lift off all the time, and she's using quite a bit of Herbalife line too. So lots of non-Herbalife24 products. And in terms of like, if you're thinking, put your distributor hat on now, like in terms of building your business, I know here nutrition clubs are super popular. A lot of these guys have kind of fit clubs, and what they're doing is they probably have people come back and they're doing either rebuild shakes or they're doing like Formula One sport shakes or even regular Formula One, and then they'll have people maybe do like a 7-day trial somehow or have people integrate rebuild strength after their workouts. And again, I think people get the results in that product. Literally, it's kind of a tough, I think, initial sell, because it's a big canister. It's got a lot of product in it. It's got, 1,000 grams of protein, 20 servings times 25. It's 500 grams. Yeah, sorry. So it's a big cash outlay in the beginning, but, after 30 days, that person is guaranteed like a second purchase because it works so well. I
mean, I think that's the thing. Like I was talking with a big football club in Germany a couple weeks ago, and I was saying just start with the CR7 and start with the rebuild strength. We'll come back and we'll talk to all these guys individually later, but I know if you start with CR7, if you start with rebuild strength, they're going to feel a difference, and they're really going to want to continue to take it every day because they're going to notice a difference.
Yeah, and I guess if I had to, let's say I did like my own like John Heiss trial pack, and I was like talking to someone, that kind of wanted to lose 10 pounds. They're kind of like not really, active. They're trying to like maybe go to the gym. I would probably do the tea, right? I do Formula One. So I got your breakfast covered. I got your metabolism booster covered with the tea. And then I'd probably get you on rebuild strength. And I'd say those 3 products, like you're going to have a good breakfast. You're going to stop eating junk food. If I can get you to go to the gym a little bit, and then get your rebuild strength maybe in the afternoon after that workout, you're going to have a much better lunch than what you're doing. And then you throw the tea in there, you're going to get some caffeine, give them a little energy, they're going to feel better. And look what happened is they stopped eating junk food, they had a better lunch, they're working out, they've got some energy from the caffeine. That person's going to come back and be like, these things are amazing, I feel better, guaranteed 3 to 5 days.
Yeah, for sure.
Easy. All right. Well, I guess the next thing we want to just kind of touch on is we're Dana and I are done here. We're going to throw the presentation back, but we just want to let everyone know that Dr. Darren Burgess is doing a big tour throughout Australia. So here's the dates on there, but he'll be all over the country, kind of early October or mid to late October. So
Yeah, he's great. We talked to him on the phone a couple months ago, so I think you guys will get a ton out of his training. He's awesome, and make sure that you guys head out and watch that.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Dana, for a great webinar. Thank you also for taking time out of your very busy schedule to get on this webinar specifically for Australia and New Zealand. So team, there you have it. And you should you want more information on Herbalife24, you can check out the online learning center where there are online courses available for Herbalife24. These courses contain great information that's presented in an interactive way. So I'd really like to encourage you to check it out on My Herbalife by going to the Key to Success section, then onto Learning Center. Alternatively, you can download the free app that's available at both Apple App Store and Google Play by searching Herbalife Learning. I want to say another huge thanks to the speakers of this webinar. So thank you, Rod, John, and Dana. I also would like to thank you for joining this webinar, and we look forward to seeing you at the Sports Nutrition Tour featuring Dr. Darren Burgess in October. Have an unbelievable day, everybody. Talk to you soon.